Better late than never, the last minute look at the Glad League starter. Now, right now, I'm going to showcase some gameplay of basically the powerhouse option, the Relic of the Pact. This is the known quantity. I want to do a Val Blade Vortex Gladiator, but I don't know. I probably shouldn't have the shrine on the showcase. I don't know how available the Val support is. So this is kind of our backup if Val support is expensive or it's tied to like a 1% drop rate from Uber Zeri and it doesn't exist. This is our power option where very early on with just a wand plus a Wrathpith, we are uber viable. And it's not just uber viable like, yeah, we can do it. It's uber viable and it's easy. Like you don't need to be too good at the game to take this level of character and do it. And so this is our early backup power option if Val Blade Vortex is, the Val support isn't available on trade right away. So that's what I'm showcasing right now. Try to do this quick because I think the servers are probably going to shut down soon for the for the availability of the the server shutting down for them basically adding the new league mechanics and stuff like that. Anyways, this is a pseudo level 96 character. I have 4 passives unspec'd. This is about 17,000 life, and this is your. I'm trying to do this as early as possible. I just got a Relic. I have a Wrathpith, and then you throw on a bunch of garbage gear to support it. So basically, this is Corrupted Calms, Corrupted Coward's Chains, a Corrupted... any version of the Will Rings works. It just has to have a specific amount of reduced reservation efficiency. There's a few different options that work, which I'll go over. Untouched Soul, very common item from the King of the Mists. Essence Worm, 1C ring. This was a helmet that had 40 life, and I corrupted it because I was trying to just have it have the same life, and it corrupted to 100 life, which works. Int suppression isn't really helping us. We don't need the int. We're overcapped on int. The regenerate's okay, so that's basically a 2-stat helmet. These gloves are quite a bit better. These are like 4-stat gloves, dex, life, cold res, fire res, but the point is we have some rares with some just okay life and res, Wrathpith, this wand, and then we have a lot of like 2-stat jewels with life and crit multi or life plus res. That's the current setup of the build with Dissolution, a mid-roll. So what is going on here? What is this setup? This initial setup is all about just getting Relic online once the wand is available. This is one of basically 3 versions of the build you can end up doing late game, which is there's a Relic of the Pact version, there's a Val Cold Snap, a Cold Dot version, and there's what I'm going to be going for, which is Val Blade Vortex. I just don't know how rare the Val Sacrifice support is, so I don't want to plan on starting that right away. If the support is expensive or it doesn't exist, this will be like this is our safety net, essentially. Relic of the Pact is. So I'm going to be filling out this guide a bit more. There should be all the different like variations of progression here. And then we also have the POB, which is right here that I've been working on getting together. And this has the loadout version for Relic Apostate, which is basically you upgrade it to some Uber drops being on trade, like Apostate, like Entropic Devastation. It's just a better version of what I just showcased here with Calms. There's Relic Calms, which is what I just showcased. Then there is the campaign stuff, which is basically I'd recommend leveling as 2-hand slams. You can level as a bleed slayer like phase plays. If you want to do that, it's more comprehensive. Then this will be in instructing you how to level. But quite frankly, I think bleed slam on Glad is going to work just fine. I'm happy to do that. I don't want to have to respec as much. So I'm going to be playing as Gladiator, and then I'm going to be doing a 1-hand plus shield setup for just an extra Giga tank option, but you could also just play 2-hand slams for just more damage. So campaign, I do 2-hand damage because it's just, you don't need that much defense in campaign. It's easier to just go full DPS, kind of. And then in early maps, I'm going to transition to a 1-hand bleed slam. That's my rough game plan. Now, the tree's progression should give you all the way level 13 starter tree into level 22. We're getting the precise technique plus fire mastery, damage scaling. Into level 31, we've grabbed the axe, rage plus onslaught. This is like your initial early game powerhouse nodes. But around level 38, when you get Fist of War, that's when I'm going to be doing a gold respec to swap into leveling with bleed slams with Gladiator with the first explode bleed node. You could just stay as normal slams with Slayer. That is an option. But for myself personally, I want to start playing more thematically what I'm working towards, which is a bleed Gladiator, and eventually Val Blade Vortex Gladiator. So that's what my thought process is. That's what these leveling trees are. And then basically in the at the end of the campaign around level 60 to 70ish, that's when I'm going to do the respec to one hand glad, going for something like Jack the Axe or a decent rare one-hander and a shield to start supporting that nice lucky block from Gladiator is what I'm looking to do. Basically, the main thing you'll swap is going, once you swap to that one-hand block setup, you're going to be going to this. And then Uberlab, you can do this, or you can do this. Those are both decent options for bleed, up until you get to the point of swapping to Relic of the Pact. Sorry, I'm trying to just run through this a little bit, because this is last minute. The league's about to start, and I want to make sure I do this before the servers go down, so I apologize for cramming all this information in. Now, one thing I really want to go over, because it's really important for the Relic of the Pact Gladiator, when you're going for this setup, there's a couple things that are a bit weird that might not make sense. And you might be wondering, why are you using this Will of Esh ring? All of the new breach rings have this reduced reservation efficiency mod, which is technically a downside mod. For our character, this is the mod we care about. And the reason is, there is a very specific reservation efficiency amount you need to make Relic of the Pact feel good with this one tap cast. And I'm going to go ahead and showcase it real quick here. If I take off this reservation efficiency, look how fast we channel. So keep in mind, this right here where I'm channeling up, that takes a lot of time. And when I have this stuff on, you'll notice I'm doing that instantly. I'm getting a full channel every single time I tap the button. And that's how you get this instantaneous big hit damage. Now, how is this happening? Specifically, this is something I figured out, I don't know how long ago with Relic of Sign, but you need 92% reduced reservation efficiency combined with these three supports: Second Wind, crit damage, and brutality. In my mind, this is the best feeling setup for Relic of the Pact. I like Second Wind. It might not seem like a good support, but I think it gives you like some quality of life where you always have the cooldown ticking even when you're casting, and it doesn't lead to some awkwardness between your cooldown rate and how often you cast. I think it smooths that out a bunch. And then crit damage and brutality are just some of the best damage supports available to support the Blood Sacrament skill from the wand. Now, specifically, the reason 92 is the number is because this skill itself, I don't know if it says on the skill, it says somewhere there's a baseline percentage reservation amount if you have no reduced reservation efficiency. Like if I just took all of this off real quick, it would say reserves 1.74, right? So it has this baseline low percentage reservation amount, and what you're essentially doing is you're getting reduced reservation efficiency, which is making it multiply how much it reserves per tick of the cast. And 92 is the magic number plus these supports that gets you to that instant cast, is essentially what's happening. Now, why do I keep mentioning the word 92, and why does it matter with this ring? You'll notice this ring rolls from negative 20% reduced reservation efficiency to 35. The magic number here is actually going to be 27, because there's a very easily used Runegrive to Treachery, which gives you 15. 27 minus 15 gives you 12. 12 plus 80 from Essence Worm gives you 92% reduced. Late game on the character, you can go for a reflected Delve ring, and you can get a much stronger ring, but early game, this is the cheapest way to get reduced reservation efficiency to match this 92 number. The other options are the Helmet Memory Vault, which gives 20% reduced reservation efficiency. Then you can combine that with 8% increased reservation efficiency from a node like Champion of the Cause. That's one option. You could also go for, let's say you didn't get exactly 27% reduced, you got 29 or 31, you could get a couple 2% reservation efficiency jewels. The bottom line is your end result number needs to be 92% reduced combined with these support gems. If you want to, you can go for, instead of 92% reduced, you can go for 91% reduced. I'm going to showcase this real quick here. If I have a 26% instead of 27% reduced ring, you'll see the ticks of this blood cast. Instead of it reserving 91%, it reserves 80.8. This has one advantage of you can cast a little bit more consistently. Like, let's say you take 10% of your life pool, you can still be casting this. Whereas if you take 10% of your life pool with the 91% reservation, it'll stop your cast. Now, This is not really much of a problem with the Glad setup I'm going to go over, but it is one small advantage. You lose damage because the more you reserve, the bigger the AoE, the bigger the base damage multiplier, but there is the advantage of you can take a little bit more reservation and still be able to cast. Now I'm going to talk about why the casting isn't too much or isn't really a problem at all. I'm cutting into the video because I went on a long tangent that didn't really explain it very well. Blood Barrier, Lucky Block, Gladiator. How can I explain this? I think this is a pretty good representation of explaining this. Is Blood Barrier constantly heals you, and this is a barrier in front of your life pool where they can't reserve until you get through it. So you'll see they're constantly hitting me. A lot of the damage is being avoided because of Lucky Block, and then Blood Barrier just keeps regenning, right? So this means a lot of times we're not really taking reservation because they have to get through Blood Barrier first and they have to get through Lucky Block. So the only way that we usually have our life getting reserved is we're doing a map with really dangerous mods where they can just hit us hard enough to get through that Blood Barrier and they get through the Lucky Block, which even then it doesn't happen too often. Or B, the real thing that actually can get through the Blood Barrier and the Lucky Block is just a degen on the floor. Sorry for moving the mic. We have a situation where if there is a degen on the floor and we stand on that, Lucky Block, it doesn't do anything against degen on the floor. Blood Barrier only applies to hits. That's the scenario where you'll see your life start to get ticked down. And this is the really only danger or thing you'll ever really die to on Relic of the Pact Glad is if you're standing on a dot, you don't realize it, and you're just tap casting a bunch. And what ends up happening is the life starts getting reserved, and it reserves down to, like, let's say 90, it reserves that first 9%, and it's like one tick away from making it so you couldn't cast. And if you start the cast right at that moment, what can happen is you'll get your life reserved the rest of the way down to 1, and the dot will tick over and kill your character. It's pretty much just don't spam cast Relic of the Pact on dots. That's about all there is to it. It's not too complicated, but that's the one danger, the one weakness to Relic of the Pact Dissolution Glad. So yeah, that's what's going on there with Blood Barrier and block combination. Ends up feeling very good. I've fallen in love with this combination. I didn't play Dissolution for a long time because I felt like there wasn't a great solution to shotgun damage, and the addition of the Bloodline is that solution. Now, one thing I want to mention here that might seem a little bit weird on this character is you might be wondering, why the hell are you wearing Coward's Chains? What's this have to do with the build? It's for the one line that says you count as full life while you are cursed with vulnerability. This line is paramount important for Blood Barrier to function. Blood Barrier says, at the very bottom of text there, it says that maximum Blood Barrier is equal to 30% of your life. Damage from hits is taken from Blood Barrier before your life. 50% life regeneration. But the important part is that very first line, life recovery from regeneration grants Blood Barrier while on full life. It has a condition that says, I'm not going to generate you Blood Barrier unless you are on full life. Now, you'll notice whenever we're casting this skill, we are not on full life, right? We are spending all of our life, we're getting it reserved or whatever, down to this, we're not on full life. So in order to make the Blood Barrier constantly regen, even though we're spam casting this and we're removing our actual red life, this thing counts us on full life. A key thing to note here is it does not prevent you from counting on Pain Attunement. It just adds that additional condition check. It just says you count on full life. The game still registers that you count on low life, but it's just saying you also count on full life as well. So you're getting both the benefit of Pain Attunement and the benefit of the constant regen to Blood Barrier, and that's why we use Coward's Chains. So yeah, that's what's going on with Relic of the Pact Glad. To try to break it down for the most part, those are some of the basics. I have maybe a 10D video on the character if you were curious about going over, kind of rushing through the things here. But the rough game plan for the Glad, it's pretty simple. We're going to start out as regular slams, pretty classy, pretty standard issue stuff. Swapping into bleed slams with Gladiator. We'll stay with two-hand initially. Do that through the campaign all the way up to around level 60 or whatever. And then right around that early campaign, level 64 to 68 range, when we're about to swap over to Killian Katava and going into maps, that's when we're going to swap to a one-hand plus shield setup for that Lucky Block, that feels good defense. It will lose you damage compared to two-hand slams. Two-hand slams is just more damage, just want to stress that, but it'll give you that feels good block defense. So this is roughly what we're going to start off doing initially, and we're just going to stay in this setup up until we can swap to Relic of the Pact or Valblade Vortex. I'm going to swap to Relic of the Pact first just because it's so strong with so little gear. Gonna go and start doing some Ubers and make some currency early league. But then we're going to swap into Blade Vortex. So when you're playing this character, this isn't like a fully freshed out level 80, 90 tree. You'll probably play one-hand slams up to 80 and 90, and it's just pretty much just don't overthink it. Grab fizz dot nodes, grab life nodes, grab some more defense or some more percent damage that's close by. Don't overthink it. You can always import my character. I will be doing this live, and you can always get a fresh import of my character to see what I'm doing with the tree. And the plan is I'm going to be updating this page as I make progression, as well as I'll do daily updates on the character. And right now, the biggest question mark is for Valblade Vortex. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if it's even going to be good. I have a rough game plan in my head. I think the concept makes sense, and that's what we're going to try to do. And either it works or it doesn't. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work, and there's two really good builds I can recommend, which is Cold Dot or Relic of the Pact, which works great with this sort of setup. But yeah, that's the plan. I have all the stuff in here, and the POB will be at the top of the Mobalytics. Hopefully you guys enjoy your league starts. Thanks for watching. As always, appreciate you, Exiles. Take care, and good luck on your league starts, guys. Peace out, guys.